How the U.S. is subsidizing high-risk home buyers at the cost of those with good credit. Now, this is just unbelievably absurd. I had people texting me about it last night wanting to know my opinion. A little noticed revamp of federal rules on mortgage fees will offer discounted rates for home buyers with riskier credit backgrounds and force higher credit home buyers to foot the bill, the Post has learned.
A little bit of redistributionism right there.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will enact changes to fees known as loan level price adjustments, LLPAs, on May 1st that will affect mortgages originating at private banks nationwide, from Wells Fargo to JP Morgan Chase, effectively tweaking interest rates paid by the vast majority of home buyers. As if interest rates aren't high enough.
It's a really terrible timing on this.
The result, according to industry pros, pricier monthly mortgage payments for most home buyers, an ugly surprise for those who worked for years to build their credit, only to face higher costs than they expected as part of a housing affordability push by the U.S. Federal Housing Finance Agency. Quote, "It's going to be a challenge trying to explain to somebody that says, I worked my whole life for high credit and I've put a lot of money down, and you're telling me that's a negative now. That's a hard conversation to have." No, that's an impossible conversation to have.
You're literally going to penalize people.
It's the worst case imaginable.
You're incentivizing worse credit at this point. Literally, it will cost you money if you have better credit, and it will save you money if you have worse credit.
Yeah. So this is
the dumbest thing I've seen in at least a week.
Go out and make all the terrible decisions that you can.
Who cares?
Because at the end of the day, daddy government is there to step in for you.
In fact, but they're not. You're going to step in for those people and pay for it directly.
Well, daddy is making them do it.
Yes, that's true.
That's yeah. You know, when you go to daddy and like, daddy, I really want, it's not fair that Brittany has this and I don't. And then daddy goes and makes Brittany give it to you.
I got you.
That's, still daddy government. Quote, "It's unprecedented," added David Stevens, who served as Federal Housing Administration Commissioner during the Obama administration. "My email is full from mortgage companies and CEOs telling me how unbelievably shocked they are by this move." Now, I really think, I told my friends last night, I was like, I really think a federal judge is probably going to block this. I don't think that this executive order will stand. I don't see how it could, because this is obviously a violation of the Constitution.
Well, I mean, they direct all sorts of things on your mortgage rates.
But the problem the problem is there's going to be such a fuss about this that it's going to have to change.
Yeah.
Maybe I might be wrong.
They could determine it to be a tax.
I hope I'm not wrong.
In which case it would continue, I suppose. That's how Obamacare kept going. So,
under the new rules, high credit buyers with scores ranging from 680 to above 780 will see a spike in their mortgage costs.
This is the dumbest thing. I'm not trying to sway votes, okay? As far as economics goes, this is the dumbest shit I have seen in quite some time. Mm-hmm. It's completely ridiculous.
With applicants who place 15 to 20% down payment experiencing the biggest increase in fees. Under the revised LLPA pricing structure, a home buyer with a 740 FICO credit score and a 15 to 20% down payment will face a 1% surcharge, an increase of 75 basis points compared to the old fee of just 25 basis points. When absorbed into a long-term mortgage rate, the increase is the equivalent of slightly less than a 0.25 percentage point in mortgage rate. On a $400,000 loan with a 6% mortgage rate, that buyer could expect their monthly payment to rise by about $40 for 30 years.
For 30 years, and that's on a $400,000 loan. So that's like a house in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
A house in your neighborhood would be like a $80 rise per month for 30 years.
Yeah.
On this thing. This, by the way, Biden has repeatedly said that there weren't going to be any taxes raised on people making less than $400,000 a year. But several things have happened that are essentially taxes on people making less than $400,000 a year. Okay? This is a tax, which is why, by the way, the Supreme Court would allow it. That's how they allowed, like I said. We'll see if they put a stay on it.
Do you think this Supreme Court would allow this?
I don't know. If they have the legal authority to place whatever types of regulations on mortgages that they want, yeah, sure.
All right, read through these quickly. Let people get their votes in.
Oh, no, there's more.
Oh, sorry.
My bad.
Okay. So, meanwhile, buyers with credit scores of 679 or lower will have their fees slashed, resulting in more favorable mortgage rates. For example, a buyer with a 620 FICO credit score with a down payment of 5% or less gets a 1.75% fee discount, a decrease from the old fee rate of 3.5% for that bracket. When absorbed into the long-term mortgage rate, that equates to a 0.4% to 0.5% discount. The fee structure changes are the latest of several moves by the FHFA aimed at boosting affordability for what the agency calls mission borrowers, defined as first-time buyers, low-income borrowers, and applicants from underserved communities. Last year, the FHFA eliminated upfront fees for first-time home buyers who are at or below 100% of their area's median income, or 120% in areas that are identified as high cost. The agency also raised upfront fees on second homes and some larger mortgage loans.
This is one of their equity pushes, basically. Like that Meet Kevin video said, this is affirmative action for housing. It's not quite affirmative action for housing, but they're doing this because statistically, your underserved communities are going to be more minority. And so this is essentially to try and help with that. And you're going to have people with good credit scores paying a higher fee to subsidize people with worse credit scores, lower down payments, making it easier for people to get homes.
And what did we learn about giving people loans that shouldn't have them in 2008?
What did we learn?
The answer is nothing.
That's what I was going to say.
Not a damn thing. We didn't learn anything. We're just going to do the same thing over and over again.
It's just, it's mentally exhausting, you know?
Yep.
It's very exhausting. Okay, let's run back through these dumps.
We're headed for hell in a handbasket.